Hey everybody, Misty Williams here from Healing Rosie, and I am super excited to introduce you to my friend Diane Kazer. She has NonToxic Beauty Summit coming up, and we are going to have a conversation about beauty today on this Facebook Live with all of you. We're going to talk about what makes us feel beautiful. We're going to talk about what's in our beauty products. We're going to talk about some of the things that really inspired Diane to create the NonToxic Beauty Summit and her own journey with beauty and feeling beautiful and some things that she learned along the way. So this is going to be awesome. I'm so glad y'all are here. Welcome, Diane.
Hey, thanks, Misty, for having me. And thanks, Tribe, for welcoming into your hearts and your minds.
Yes. Well, why don't you start off with just sharing with everyone why you started kind of this movement around non-toxic beauty. I have been inspired personally by your story. And if there's anyone in our community who's part of the My Body, My Healing program, you know that we have a case study in there featuring Diane and her experience with breast implant illness. So tell us a little bit about all of that.
Yeah. Beauty really, it's a question that is typically created based on culture, right? Like, what makes us beautiful? And look no further than what we see on magazines, look no further what we see on TV, look no further than what kind of messages we received from mom at a young age, or if we didn't have a mom, whoever our caregiver was, our teachers, our peers. There's so many things that have culturally conditioned, and for some of us imprisoned our minds to believing what beauty is. So I think it's important to really question what beauty is not too. And what makes us beautiful is this core radiance that we came here as. We have these beautiful, unique gifts that are so different from one another. And it's interesting when you look at today, like Instagram beauty or social media beauty, people are all looking the same. You know, there's this thing called the phi ratio, and I'm not sure if you've heard this before, but it's where there's these proportions that make us beautiful based on the distance between our eyes from here to here, and our cheekbones from here to here, and then our chin from here to here, and forehead, and all of these, ratios. And that's what determines the things, the kind of procedures that they're doing in spas, med spas, Botox, breast implants, booty injections, or whatever it is. And people are starting to look very similar. And I look at this and I go, wait. What happened to embracing our differences? What happened to illuminating our core essence of what makes us beautiful? And what happened to many years ago, really embracing our gifts and sharing them with the world? So I think beauty is stripping away the layers of what we're not, of what we have been taught that quote unquote make us beautiful, that we're starting to look so much uniformly the same, and really instead looking at the core of ourselves and sharing those unique gifts and standing up in our divine right to be the person we came here to be, that's so much different. And it's not about right or wrong. It's not about shaping or molding or sculpting. It's about uncovering and recovering what makes us beautiful from the inside, that beautiful divine light. And I know some of you guys might be like, yeah, whatever, but I really want to get approval, and I want to follow the trends of what's out there. But I think that that's the prison, is thinking that we need to look like everybody else.
Yeah. Why don't you share with us a little bit about the journey that you've been on that really kind of confronted you with the stereotypical ideas of what beautiful is, and maybe how you had been affected by that programming and what ended up happening for you.
Yeah. So I think it really started in my childhood and really wanting to be approved of by my peers and my parents and my teachers, the preachers. I wanted to be approved of, and that's what so many of us are on a path of, is that 90% of our thoughts are limiting beliefs and self-sabotaging. And so that's where my journey began. And so you take that programming from when we're kids, whatever that story is, whatever that story is, it's about perfectionism. It's about fearing being shamed. So when I was 30, I moved to Orange County and I started doing bikini competitions and thinking that I needed to have boobs, breast implants, that is, because when I was 31, I did a photo shoot, my first fitness photo shoot, that is. And my photographer was like, in order to make it in this industry, you're going to need double D's. And I was like, can you just take the pictures, please? And stop telling me what I need to change in myself. Can you just help me illuminate what's beautiful already? Like I'm looking the best I've ever looked. What do you mean I need to change my body? But that unfortunately planted the weeds that grew And within 6 months, I was shopping for boobs. And I was like, hey, what kind of breast implants should I get? What size? What doctor? And I got them, and then I got sick. I didn't realize that I was that toxic. Those toxic stories I was telling myself in the sick stories that I was talking to me. And of course, from that photographer, and of course, from all the different weeds that had been planted along the way, grew into, I'm not enough as I am. So I need to get double D's because I was 10% body fat. And kind of interestingly, that's when I started doing worse in my rankings when I got on stage. I actually started scoring farther and farther last than instead of first. So then got out of the industry, started doing yoga, and started thinking, okay, if I meditate enough, maybe I'll believe that I'm enough. And then I became a yoga teacher, and I traveled the world, went to 25 countries, went to India. Maybe I'll love myself now. And it worked a little bit, and essential oils worked a little bit. Baths helped a little bit, but there's still this core essence of me that I did not love. And in becoming the thickest I've ever been after having Botox injections, and even after having cleaned up my beauty care routine and still having all kinds of the best and the cleanest of the beauty care products, I was still sick, and I still had breast implants. I was still doing Botox. And what really woke me up was figuring out that I was so sick from Botox and breast implants, and no amount of diets and no amount of exercise routines and no amount of supplements were helping me get to the core of that, because I was still covering something up. And that's when I found myself on my knees in my sauna, holding my breasts that still had 500 cc double D breast implants inside of me, and apologizing deeply to myself and saying, I won't do this to you ever again. I just
When
won't.
did you know that your breast implants were at the root of all these symptoms that you started experiencing?
Good question. So when I went to have a thermogram, I saw red. Just my whole body was heat. And we know that inflammation is at the root cause of disease today. It's said that 95% of diseases are rooted in inflammation. So that I had to track back the question as to, where is this inflammation coming from? And so when I started doing the research and seeing like this, what is breast implant illness? Hashtag breast implant illness. And I started seeing a lot of articles my friends had written about what breast implant illness was. And I matched my symptoms to the breast implant illness constellation symptoms. And I went, oh, wow, well, that's me. And then now learning through this whole journey of the non-toxic beauty revolution, that Botox is producing very similar symptoms after injection. And Botox is the #1 most toxic substance known to man. And they've used it in Gulf War, World War II, to paralyze the troops. And they were spraying it in the sky, and then they developed a vaccination to protect their soldiers from it. And I went, what are we doing? Why are we injecting this in our faces? For what? Like, can I just love my lines? And I started developing new boundaries, because I started learning that this was very similar to what so many other women were experiencing. So I did a lot of labs, and I found that I had autoimmune disease. And then I found that there are studies now that hundreds of thousands of women went through a study, and they found that up to an increase of 800% of autoimmune disease like Raynaud's and other things like Hashimoto's from these types of beauty care treatments. And I went, you know what? Enough is enough. Even the hair dye, even all of these things, it's like, how big is this bucket? When does it flow over? And it's different for each person. So we look at the bucket as like the amount of lead in lipstick, the hair dyes that we're doing. Because I dyed my hair pink. I was sick then too. The amount of things that we have in mascaras and things that we're using on our face, the parabens, the phthalates, the plastics, the pesticides, the perfume, the fragrance. There's so many things that are what's called xenoestrogens, and it drives up the amount of estrogens in the body. And those are the things that grow things in our body. Like, it grows our fats, it can grow fibroids, it can grow tumors, it can grow cancers. So then our bucket eventually spills over, and we go, how did I get here? It must have been that one thing, right, that pushed our bucket over. But it's the accumulation of all of these toxins. And there are so many today in many different parts. In the name of beauty, dying to be beautiful, literally.
Yeah. So why don't you share a little bit with us about what we can expect if we tune into the Non-Toxic Beauty Summit?
Yeah. So this is not about shame. This is not about fear. Although I do want you to get a little angry. I do want you to get a little angry. Like, how come people aren't telling us these things? I thought that that this industry or this doctor or, you know, this organization would have been looking out for me. So I want you to get a little angry. And so what happens is that when you go through this process is like, I got angry. I had to get angry at this part of me that was like bullying me into thinking that I wasn't beautiful. Right. So I was like, wait a second, I'm beautiful. I'm revolting against this bully voice in my head. But then again, where did it come from? Where did that voice come from? And I had to track back. I want you to go through that journey, because through that anger, you find your passion and you find your protection for self. And then you go, wait, okay, what am I going to do now with all this information? So it becomes information, it becomes transformation with all of the education. Misty's on the summit too.
I am.
Yeah, along with 49 other people, including, well, I'm like the 51st, I think. All these books behind me, a lot of these experts. So we're going to talk about things that are blocking your beauty. We're going to talk about things that are building your beauty, because right now we think that we need to buy more to build our beauty. But here's the thing. There are more things that are blocking your beauty, like dehydration and oral health and things that are happening in your gut, the things that are draining your hormones, the things that are making us feel like we are sick and suffering with symptoms. There are more things that we need to take away. And that's what's cool. It's more about simplification than it is adding more, because so many women are spending thousands and thousands of dollars that are actually making us more sick, but it's really coming back to ourselves. So that's what we're going to learn, how to simplify this process and this journey to reclaim your beauty, which also in the process helps you to build your vitality and your energy levels. It's really cool. It builds all the same things.
Yeah, I love it. So what's really fun for me about this idea is, first of all, I'm a total girls girl, and I love all the beauty stuff. And on my journey, I've had to ask myself a lot of the same questions that you've had, like what am I committed to creating for myself? What makes me feel beautiful? I've had to go through my medicine cabinet and do all the swapping, you know, look in my shower, what needs to come out of here, you know, get better products that doesn't have all the parabens and everything in it. But at the same time, I also think that being beautiful and doing things that make us feel beautiful is an integral part of our femininity as women. And there has to be a way for all of us to engage with this conversation, ask ourselves the important questions so that we're being healthy and taking care of ourselves and not going too far, but also learning to honor the part of ourselves that is female, it's feminine, that, you know, loves all the beauty stuff. And you've put together such a great lineup and created such a wonderful space for all of us to be able to consider this for ourselves and learn some amazing secrets, tips, insights, tricks to actually maximizing our beauty too, not just saying no to things that are toxic, but also learning what's really going to make us feel more beautiful. So this is super exciting. I hope everybody will sign up and participate in your event. So tell us when it is and where they can sign up.
So March 9th is when we start, but you can sign up anytime. And when you sign up, you guys get a ton of freebies. I mean, this thing is going to be loaded. And Misty's on there, so she could provide her link where you guys can find it. And it's the NonToxic Beauty Summit. So this is a really powerful take back. And when you do that, then there's going to be about 7 speakers a day. So it can be a little bit overwhelming, you know, if you have a full-time job, then you're not going to be able to watch all of them. So you're going to, when you get to this page, you'll see all the different speakers, the different days, and you can map out what sounds of interest to you. You could also go to their website, check out more information about them. So you could see if it's something that you want to do. There's also going to be a few speakers that you'll be able to see ahead of time and watch their interviews ahead of time. And then of course, if you're like, wow, I'm kind of blown away, and I've been getting lots of messages already on that. So hopefully that will be you too. You can always buy the summit. It's like what, 60 or 80 bucks, depending on when you buy it. You will always have the interviews, and they're also going to be transcribed. So if you're like, what did that person just say? I found myself during all these interviews, I'm like, oh my God, what did they just say? What did they do? How do I spell that? And there's so many resources that you can keep those. And if you bought it, you would get like, I think, and now we're at like thousands of dollars. One of the gals that I interviewed is donating her $400 program that you would otherwise.
That's awesome.
And she is amazing. She's someone that you could listen to, and she helps you find practitioners in your area, what products make sense, the ingredients in the product. Like I'm like, that's the price of the program alone, you know?
Yeah.
And then I'll have mine in there too. So, and then, you know, you've got all kinds of freebies too from people like Misty. So Did you want to share your link, Missy, or do you want me just to share?
Yeah, we'll have this. We will have, if you look in the status, if you're seeing this on Facebook,
Sure.
you'll see a link to be able to sign up. And if you're watching on YouTube, just look down in the description and you'll see a link to sign up there.
Cool.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much, Diane. This is like going to be an awesome, awesome summit. I know. And it's really fun to come together and talk about things that, that kind of touch on the more feminine side of who we are as women. I really hope all my sisters, all the Rosies, will sign up and participate in this event week with you. And Encore weekend will be the following weekend. So if you don't get to everything and you're watching starting on the 9th, then just know that the following weekend, you'll have another opportunity to catch any important interviews that you miss. And yeah, there's always tons of value and so much stuff packed into these summits. So everyone go sign up.
Yep. See you there.
Awesome. Thanks, y'all. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye for now.